Hello, Guardians. Welcome to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast here on Boss Rush Games. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is our lore archivist himself, Mr. Josh Finney. How you
What's
feeling?
going on, everybody?
How you feeling today, Josh?
Man, I'm good. I'm tired. I feel like I've been complaining about this for weeks, but we are on the verge of finishing with the apartment. Really, my office is the last major place we have to take care of, along with a handful of the dishes that we've actually been using. So, almost done. Next week, there will be new surroundings. This is the last time I'll be in a room with a door. My office does not have a door on it in our new place. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Not sure how jazzed I am about that quite yet, but yeah, it's going to be nice. I'm looking forward to it. We've been planning this move for a couple of months now. So, but Corey, before we get started, can we just take a moment to appreciate that we both got our Xbox Series X pre-orders in this week?
Yes, we did. I was going to bring it up. I was going to ask you, because man, that was a rough hour
the
for me.
The meltdown in the Arsenal X group chat was
gosh.
truly something to behold.
It was special. It was
yeah.
dude, I was like, I muted everybody because except for Wario 64.
That was how I was. I literally just had my browser open on him.
Yeah.
And I as he sent out the links just before 11 a.m. Central or 11 a.m. Eastern. So I had the landing page for Amazon pulled up, and when it said, "Oh, this page is not available," I'm like, "Oh shit, this is not a good sign. This is not starting out well." Best Buy's links were up, and it took them over an hour to go live. I'm still convinced that they didn't go live. I'm convinced if you got one from Best Buy, it's a lie. Yeah. There's no way.
I know.
I spent an hour and a half trying to check out through Best Buy.
Yeah, let me. I had an army of people. I had my dad, I had my mom, I had my wife, and then I was trying. First of all, don't text and drive, folks. I was don't browse the internet while you're driving. But I was reloading pages while I was driving to Best Buy or driving to GameStop on my break from work, and nothing would load. I finally got it in my cart at Target. I was like, great, here we go. Boom. Cart is empty. I'm like, what do you mean it's empty?
Cart is empty and Target. Name me a more iconic duo.
Yeah.
I got all the way to payment and shipping address information 7 different times, and each time as I completed it, it yanked it out of my cart.
Yeah. It got me.
I was the messages I was sending in the chat, I was just I'm devastated. I'm borderline devastated right now. My Twitter feed from Tuesday morning is just, man, you would think that somebody got murdered in front of me the way I was acting.
Yeah.
I was absolutely crushed.
Yeah, I got to, I got all my information. It said what did it say, complete order or whatever. And I went to hit it and I saw the arrow spin. I was like, it's going to happen. Yep. It's going to happen. And it said, oops, something went wrong. I'm like, oh no. And then I had to start over. And by the time we got through all of this, and I was like, well, I have to be back to work in 10 minutes, and it takes me 12 minutes to get there from here. So I started my trek back to work, and I get a phone call from my mom. She's like, I think I got it. I'm like, you did? She's like, yeah, I got it. I got all the way through, and I got an email confirmation from Target. Do you want me to send it to you? I'm like, yes. She's like, then she's like, how do I send you an email? I'm like, oh God.
Oh my God. Oh no. Just be at that point, just be like, leave it. I'll do it after work. Just leave it.
Well, I was like, it's just like sending a text message. You just enter my email address in the bar and send it and forward it to me. I was like, is Dad sitting next to you? Yeah. Have him send it. Just have him send it. And so she sent it to me. And then when I pulled in the parking lot at work, I opened Amazon, went to the Xbox Series X page, pre-ordered it, with 0 issues.
It was so easy. If you got into the Amazon pre-orders within about 90 seconds of them being live, it was the easiest 90 seconds, I think, of your video game career.
Yeah.
So Corey, you ordered 2, which thank God, because the group chat was not going well.
Yeah. Well, my plan was
me and Jesse were having extreme problems getting orders.
I don't think Jesse got his. Last time I talked to him, he didn't.
He did not.
No. So like my second one, fingers crossed, nothing gets canceled, right? Like, I'm paranoid about it every night before I go to bed.
Yeah, it keeps me up.
Mm-hmm. But just in case, like, my second box is going to Jesse unless he gets one in the next, couple months if they reopen pre-orders or whatever.
Microsoft did make a statement that morning or that afternoon. I was driving back to Dallas. People were texting me about it. Like record-breaking pre-orders, like they've never seen demand like this for a box.
I know it even sold out in Japan. Did you see that thing today when they
even sold out in Japan? Yeah, I did see that today. The joke that I was seeing was, oh yeah, I'm glad they sold all 5 of the consoles.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, let's be honest, like that's kind of an accurate number.
Yeah.
Then they were like, we're going to have more consoles in the lead up, but we also are holding some stock to make them available for people for walk-ins on Tuesday the 10th, which I think is really important to note. There will still be other opportunities and other chances. It's flickered in and out at Sam's Club so many times over the last couple days.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, if you're listening to this and you've not gotten an Xbox and you really want an X or an S, I would recommend checking out Sam's or Costco. If you have a membership to there or somebody who does, like, you genuinely you may have a better chance. I know that we joked about it on Arsenal X. Jesse was like, man, I might go try Costco. Like, that is actually a really good idea. Like, it's a legit idea at this point, I think. That may be your best shot at securing one over the next 5-6 weeks.
Yeah.
But I was able to secure my order through Amazon as well, and then I was able to get the Series S for my girlfriend through the Microsoft Store. Microsoft Store wouldn't work for me. I was trying to check out there for close to an hour. God bless him. Ryan McCaffrey was my savior. Ryan McCaffrey was my Wario 64. He tweeted the link for Amazon just as it went live.
Yeah.
So I was able to get that real fast. And then he tweeted out a fixed Microsoft link, which I grabbed just before the site crashed again.
Yeah.
And just boop, 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 checked right out.
Yeah. It was...
man, I'm really excited. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Let's go.
I mean, it's funny though, because the first game we're gonna boot up is a game that we've been playing since the Xbox 360. So
I mean, like, and I saw that joke happening too. Like, I saw some people online going like, oh, how on earth is this box selling out? They don't even have any exclusives on day one. And I'm like, honestly, I don't know if pre-orders, and I have no way to support this theory. I think 2 things drove pre-orders to go as rapidly as they did. One, we all have, not all, but people aren't going out as much. They have that entertainment money or vacation money they would have been spending to spend on a console now. In some cases, so you not only have the hardcore fan base, you have others who are like, you know what, I kind of want to have the new thing. I kind of want to have it, just to have it. Like, it makes my games look better. Like, I kind of like the mini fridge look. Like, I want to get one. And then the other is just...
It's actually... Man. The box is actually not as big as you think it is. Like,
it's not, but it is, like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure I'll get used to it. I like it standing up better than sitting on its side. Like, that's my biggest takeaway from the units going out. I'm like, yeah, this thing's never going in my entertainment center. It's definitely going behind the TV where I don't have to look at it, unless I get a special edition one down the line. But I would absolutely buy an all digital version of this just to make it look more normal. It looks really weird as is. And I have no way to support this theory, but I really do think that the Bethesda acquisition 24 hours before did move the needle.
Oh, yeah, it did, for sure.
I think it definitely... I think especially for the Series S, for the $299 console, I think it may have shifted. Those units were always going to sell no matter what, but I think they went a lot quicker. Like, I saw some go, well, I was going to get a Series S. I guess I'm getting an X because that's all I can get. or vice versa. The S actually stayed in stock surprisingly long on some websites.
They're still not live on Amazon, by the way.
Yeah, they've never sold them on Amazon, which is interesting. I would like to be able to get it through Amazon, but I already have an X, and I'm paranoid about one of those getting canceled if I do that. So
yeah.
I am not going to press my luck. The only way I will is if Best Buy decides to put up Series X pre-orders again, which, again, not entirely sure they ever did to begin with, since I don't know a single person who was able to get a Best Buy order. I never saw anybody with a confirmation online. Nothing.
Yeah.
So...
yeah. It's still... It's like the Series X on Amazon says... or the Series X says currently unavailable, but the Series S still says coming soon on the Microsoft product page. So I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad I got one. I'm glad I get it. Hopefully this second pre-order stays so I can get it to Jesse. But
yeah,
definitely happy I got one because I didn't think I was going to. And I was going to be really upset.
Yeah, I mean, things did not go live. The chaos that was happening online, the absolute meltdowns, is like Walmart. Walmart was the only one who went live right away, them and Target. I saw one person get a confirmation from Walmart before Walmart crashed. Mm-hmm. I saw a couple people get Target, and a few get the Microsoft Store, and then after that, it was just pandemonium. This made the PS5 debacle look like competent.
I mean, I guess I don't know. I think they were going to be rough
really
either
bad.
day.
It was rough no matter what. But this was bad. This was really bad. Like you can't talk shit and then everything just, even your own site, like your Microsoft and your site collapsed, man. Like, come on.
Yeah,
y'all knew this was coming.
Yeah,
you knew this was coming.
Yeah, I mean, I do put it more on the retailers than Microsoft, but except for the fact that Microsoft's site even was like couldn't.
Yeah, Microsoft's site was even crashing and people couldn't check out. Source, I was one of the people for a very long time. So I don't know. I'm just happy that most people on my friends list who wanted one was able to get one. Mm-hmm. It was great.
Yeah,
it was great. I'm here for it. I'm happy. Thankfully, we were able to secure an extra pre-order for Jesse.
Yeah,
but I think that's where all of our attention turned once we had our initial console procured. Was okay. Let's give Jesse some links. Let's try and get him one.
That's. I mean, I just wanted, honestly, like I thought Jesse was going to be able to get one at some point, especially when I opened the Amazon link and it was just like literally took me 10 seconds to do that. Yeah. It was just like buying anything else on Amazon. So, but yeah, I mean, it's. I'm glad I got to do that, and hopefully they hold. Yeah.
God, fingers crossed. I'm so paranoid. I've double and like quadruple checked the shipping addresses that I put on them to make sure I didn't accidentally autofill for our old address.
Yeah.
Or our soon-to-be old address. I'm absolutely terrified that that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, the one from Target is the one I'm paranoid about the most.
Oh, absolutely. I don't trust Target.
Yeah, and that's going to my parents' house. So, oh boy. But yeah, I'm more concerned about this memory unit now. But I mean, I guess we knew it was going to be that expensive. But
we had the leaked prices like 3 weeks ago, and I remember going, "Oh, that can't be right. That's got to be a placeholder price." And then I read the tech that's in it. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's like actually kind of par for the course for those prices. I'm not overly shocked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it because it's definitely not consumer friendly, but also like I know 3 people who have said that they have either ordered one or are ordering one.
I mean, I'm ordering one, but I'm still gonna, not smile when I do it.
I keep coming back to this. Like, you can put games onto a USB 3.1 hard drive or SSD, and you can play all of your backwards compatible games on it. The only things you cannot play from there, you cannot play Series X games, and you cannot play anything that has been enhanced for Series X. So, like, I could not play Sea of Thieves from it, for example. I would not be able to play CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk when
like Gears 5 either now.
Yeah, like you can't play that, but the vast
you can't play the Xbox One version of those games from there.
No, because it's going to detect that you're playing on Series X, and it's going to automatically give you the superior version.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 will not run from it.
Yes.
So. But I mean, while we're talking, I mean, this is a Destiny show, of course. While we're talking next-gen file sizes, we want to just go ahead and jump into the TWAB, because this was actually a central point of the TWAB today.
The TWAB.
It's actually a really short, sweet, and to the point episode this week. So
we got to fill time somewhere, so we're talking about our Xbox pre-orders.
The anxiety attacks that Corey and I were having. Dude, and the very little sleep that we got.
I messed. Well, the night before, I was up late doing Nintendo Power Block and like editing the show.
You did Power Block, and then we went live to talk to Bethesda acquisition.
Yeah, that's right. We did do a show after that, and then like I edited both.
All we did was like sit there for like 20 minutes and be like, "Oh my god!" I'm just, after a whole night of it on Arsenal X on Sunday night. We're like, "God, we're not going to get these orders. I'm so scared. Like the PS5 stuff is psyching me out. This is so bad."
We're going into our third. You and I are going into our third hour this week talking about how anxious we are just to like not only pre-order the box, but
I left my anxiety medication in Austin too.
Oh god.
Like I do take that like every morning, and I realized I left it on the counter. I was like, crap, this is just terrible. This is terrible. I didn't take it Monday, because of the Bethesda news. It caught me so off guard, and I just got so distracted leaving my apartment. To the point where I recounted this on our reacts, but I had to pull over about an hour into the drive from Austin to Dallas because my phone would not stop giving me alerts.
Yeah.
They just kept popping up on my car's computer, and like it all just froze up. Like I had to pull off, turn off my car, and turn it back on to get the messages to disappear.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was just like one would pop up and go away, another one pop up, but like boom, 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 and they were just coming in so often. I had to mute every single chat, turn off notifications. It was bad. It was real. It was hilarious, but it was bad.
Yeah.
And then that's how I found out we now have remote play.
I mean, first of all, I've never edited something so fast in my entire life than that our Bethesda conversation. First of all.
Yeah, man.
I put it up so fast.
That's a whole nother show. That was literally a whole nother show. But I definitely recommend y'all should go listen to that.
Yeah. It's on the Arsenal X feed.
It's 30 minutes of Corey and I just going, this doesn't feel real. Like, what even is this? Like, it hasn't even been 12 hours. It's barely been 12 hours at that point.
Yeah.
Which I'm still having the same reaction I did 12 minutes after, and then I did 6 hours after when I talked to Ray Apollo. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's real.
I mean, did you hear this? The Sega rumors are popping up everywhere again now too.
Man, I came so close to buying into the Sega hype too, purely because of the blue on that controller.
I pre-ordered the controller, by the way.
At the second that I saw, I was like, "Yep, that's Corey. Corey's gonna order this."
I did.
Corey's absolutely ordering this.
I did.
Yeah, I know you. That is the less surprising than us getting console orders is Corey saw that controller and bought it.
Yeah, I did. I almost pre-ordered 2, but I'm like, I don't want to be too greedy here. I got a memory card to pay for.
The rumors were so prevalent, being circled around so much that they ended up having to come out on the official Game Pass account and on the Xbox account on Twitter and be like, there is no acquisition news coming out of Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah. They could do it. They could do it before it starts, though.
So full disclosure, when we're recording this Thursday night. This morning is when the Microsoft showcase happened, and
it was this morning.
Yes, it was this morning. That's how little was announced. There is that there was nothing.
Okay.
They showed Flight Sim and a sizzle reel, essentially, of stuff that's coming to Japan audiences. Like, there a little bit of Scarlet Nexus was shown. I think some of the Medium was shown. Some other first-party titles were thrown in there. I think Psychonauts was promoted. Forza. Just a lot of stuff that we saw really in July, honestly. And then they touted that, hey, it's up for pre-order, but hey, it's sold out. Like, that was another thing they were able to push. They showed Resident Evil 8, I believe, was shown there. They showed a trailer for that. And there might have been something else. I don't know. I think the Scarlet Nexus, like, intro movie is out, maybe, or the theme song or whatever. There were a few... It's kind of weird announcements. It wasn't anything major. The major announcement was Doom Eternal coming to Game Pass on October 1st.
Yeah.
Which Corey calls on the Bethesda recap, by the way. Except you guessed that it was going to come day one to not day one to Game Pass, but it was going to be there when Series X launched on Game Pass. So you were half right.
Yeah. By the way, not anything to do with Doom coming to Game Pass, but it will not let you pre-order more than one controller on Amazon. Fun fact.
Kind of like that. Were you really about to order another Sega Blue controller?
I just wanted to see if I could.
You need to be stopped.
I do. I can't be stopped. By the way, speaking of stopping, can someone please buy this original PlayStation with 6 games from me? Because I just don't want it anymore. It's been up on eBay for like 18 days.
I want to list my Halo 5 Xbox on eBay because I see how much they're going for, but I'm so paranoid about it breaking in transit.
Yeah. I'm trying to I'm trying to find a Xbox 360e console.
Mm-hmm.
And those things are expensive, by the way. If you're trying to look for one. These are hard to find. But anyways, we were talking about the TWAB. I don't know how we got to Doom and Game Pass and
dude, I don't know. You know
Sonic.
What? It happens. This is off the rails. It is Tower Casuals, but
I think people understand. This is a big week for. I mean, people who are excited to play Destiny on a TV at 60 frames a second, who didn't sign up for Stadia.
So first things first. Destiny did come to Game Pass this week. It includes both the Forsaken and Shadowkeep expansions. There is still 6 or 7 weeks for you to jump in if you're a new player to knock out the Red War campaign and the Curse of Osiris and Warmind expansions. If you want to play the story through on those, there's a lot of story content you can sit there and play. Like, I think this is the best advice I can give anybody who I don't know if we have any new players who are listening to this or people who are interested, but just hunker down and do all the story stuff first and then go back and do side things. You'll get overwhelmed otherwise.
Yeah.
Don't worry about bounties. Don't pick up exotic quests, things like that. Just do the story.
Especially because, especially in the Red War campaign, they actually introduce a lot of stuff to you through the campaign. So
they do, and that's one of the reasons why I'm upset that it's going away. But I do hope that it's just temporary and it comes back within like a year.
Do you think they're going to have a new light version of that?
So they've talked about this a little bit. Part of the reason why the Cosmodrome is coming back, which I want to go more in depth on the Cosmodrome next week with when Nerd Generalist joins us, but they said part of the philosophy of bringing the Cosmodrome back was to create a more streamlined new light experience that can then tie into the Forsaken and Shadowkeep expansions. I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to go, because I do think eventually we're going to get the Destiny 1 campaigns at some point, which I do think is really important, that you can play the entire story from start to finish like other MMOs.
Can we get like a streamlined, revamped Destiny 1 story though? Just kind of because some of those missions are kind of worthless, some of them you definitely need to cut out. Specifically, most of the Venus and Mars missions can probably be cut. Yeah. The moon, I do think the moon sets up long term ramifications that come around in Crota, especially for Dark Below.
Yeah. I call it Crota, not Dark Below. And
I think people
most
know what you're
stuff
talking
on-
about.
I think most of the stuff on Earth is pretty necessary too. But the Taken King and Rise of Iron campaigns were really good, and I'd like to see those back as well.
Yeah.
And House of Wolves. House of Wolves, probably still my favorite little like mini expansion that we've gotten between that, Dark Below, Curse of Osiris, and Warmind. I think that's my favorite little one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's on Game Pass. Go check that out. It's a lot of fun. You can play it on mobile. I've seen a lot of people tweeting about how they're playing it on mobile and saying that it works just as good as Stadia, but there is still some latency issues on cell phones. So I'm sure those kinks will be worked out eventually. But hey, that's the risk you take playing a live service game on a cell phone. The fact it works on there at all is kind of a technological marvel.
Yeah.
But really excited to see where that partnership goes. Of course, Beyond Light is coming at you on November 10th, along with everywhere else. But while we're talking about Beyond Light information, Corey.
Yes.
Today, we in the Schwab, they call it Talking Tech. They talked a lot about some of the back end stuff. We're going to skip over most of this because it's just really big brain stuff that I don't understand. But there are a few passages I want to read from. This is from the engineering director, David Aldridge. He says, we learned many lessons from the transition to Destiny 2, from shipping Curse of Osiris, Warmind, Forsaken, Year 2 seasons, and Shadowkeep. When we look back at those lessons, we decided not to pursue Destiny 3, but instead reinvest everything in Destiny 2 and make it all that it can be, which it was covered in a much earlier Schwab this year. To support that strategy, we made several tech investments to help us sustainably evolve the game for years to come, and some of those investments are arriving in Beyond Light. Many of these changes are under the hood and will not expect your experience, except insofar as they help us deliver you more and better Destiny in the future, but some result in neat improvements, curious behavior differences, and bugs. That means on November 10th, some places and things will feel a little like sliders, so we'd like to give you a rundown of some of the changes. So they changed their scripting model to run on a physics host instead of a mission host. I don't really understand any of this, to be quite frank with you. But things they said you will notice, it will change behaviors in complex ways, and you will see behavior changes or bugs in pre-Beyond Light missions and public events and whatnot that were originally built and tested on a previous system. We've tested these heavily and stamped out the bugs, but some will slip through. We'll be focusing on monitoring the remaining bugs over time. In some cases, these issues are more severe. For example, this is an example of what caused the Prophecy Dungeon to be unavailable temporarily, but it will return slated for the end of the year. So they're kind of aiming for late November, early December, it looks like. Prophecy will be unavailable for the first handful of weeks of Beyond Light.
Which we knew, right? Like, I mean, they said that.
Yes, we knew. Now we know the specific reason. I always appreciate these looks under the hood, especially from Bungie, as you're trying to basically rebuild a game on the fly. That's what the Content Vault ultimately is going to be helping with. One other cool new feature in the area in this section is face-to-face joins in social spaces. And notice they don't just say the tower; they say in social spaces. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's referring to just the farm or if that's referring to maybe there's something on Europa we don't know about yet.
There's got to be something on Europa, right? Like, I mean, if they're taking away they're taking away the farm for sure, right? Like, I feel like that's a no-brainer.
I don't know if the farm is going away. I think it's still there. It serves no purpose, though.
Yeah. Well.
But you can now fire team up with tower friends without a long reload. I really, really like that. But here's the meat of what we wanted to talk about in the Schwab today. Revamped content building and patching pipeline for speed and install size. With the tremendous size of Destiny, our complete shippable content builds were frequently taking north of 24 hours. We've made investments to bring that down to sub 24 hours, which resulted in a bunch of changes to content and patching formats. The current Destiny 2 install has a significant amount of dead content. Example, assets in the base install that were replaced in later patches. Due to these changes, Beyond Light will be a full re-download on all platforms. We know this is painful for those with slower or metered internet connections, and we're very sorry about that. To help mitigate this, we're planning to enable Beyond Light preload sometime in the evening of November 9th Pacific time, which should give everybody at least 10 hours to download before the gates open. The install size, as a result, will shrink by 30 to 40% due to a combination of culling unused or replaced content, install size optimizations, and moving the content vault. The install size will shrink to somewhere between 59 and 71 gigabytes, depending on the platform. And this will help us control install size better in the years to come. Something I really want to show here real fast. We're assuming right now that the 71 gigs is probably PC, Series X, and PS5. Mm-hmm. And we're assuming that 59 is likely Xbox One, PS4, and potentially Series S, maybe like 5 gigs above that. But we do know that Series S is offering 30% reduced download capacity than Series X versions of games.
Yeah.
So I suspect it may be coming at that, but that's really good for such a big game. That's actually a really good size. It's no longer the 108 gig behemoth that it is now, mm-hmm.
which
is topped, I think, really only among widely played games. It's really only topped by Call of Duty, by Modern Warfare and Warzones. So
yeah.
And Master Chief Collection is as big as Destiny 2, if you want any idea.
Gears 5 is pretty big too.
Okay.
I think it's over 100 gigs total.
Okay. I haven't had it installed in so long, truthfully.
Yeah, on One X it's pretty big. If not over 100, it's close. So.
Yeah. And kind of the last in this area, we hope to use these faster builds to accomplish 2 things. Help us ship mission-critical fixes faster when game-breaking bugs arise. Right now, it takes days to get a hot fix going, because it has to be certified and everything else. This will allow them to get it certified a lot quicker, it sounds like, and reduce overall pipeline death, enabling us to work on Destiny releases closer to their ship dates so we can react to fresher information about what's happening in the live game. For example, historically, each of our seasons has had to get deep into production before the preceding season launched, preventing us from reacting to learnings from that preceding season. These tech improvements should give us 1 to 2 more weeks of flexibility on a seasonal scale, helping us pivot more quickly in some cases. So, for example, like Luke Smith earlier this year was talking about, hey, we're seeing your feedback, but we can't enable the changes until like Season of Arrivals. It was something in Season of Dawn, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
We're not able to pivot really quickly, but also I'm reminded of him talking about the Menagerie last year, where he just went, thank God everybody really liked the Menagerie model, because if you didn't, we weren't sure what we were going to do in the fall, because the lectern kind of works similarly. Getting rewards from certain activities works the same way. We were really scared that if y'all didn't like this, we were screwed. And yeah, I mean, there's other things. They've relit parts of the EDZ and Nessus to make them look a little bit different, kind of a fresh coat of paint for year 1 locations. And since they really have had no changes to them since the very beginning, those 2 locations specifically. Mm-hmm. And they also talked about the character face system is being rebuilt also. And why they weren't able to do it before. So Guardians' faces may look a little bit differently, and their long-term goal of enabling everyone to imagine themselves as Guardians. They are building lists of things to change on face shapes going forward in the future. I think now that to me, if they're finally getting to this, it means, okay, we're fixing a lot of our long-term and long-time standing technical issues that we just haven't gotten around to fixing yet. Yeah. So. Yeah, that is the really, 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 really nerdy schwab of the week. And there's some really sweet emblems up for winning certain things like the Bungie Bounty, Movie of the Week, Fashion Show, etc. These are all really cool emblems that you have a chance to win. And then some emblems for those who help out on the forums. Other than that, yeah, that's about it. It's a really, really short schwab. Next week, they hint that next week we're going to cover the Festival of the Lost, which launches, I believe, the Tuesday after. I think it launches the first Tuesday of October, roughly on the 6th or 7th. So, yeah. Other than that, Iron Bananas returns next week as well.
Yeah.
We literally just had Iron Banner, and it's coming back again.
Yeah, why is it so Because wasn't it like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. They addressed it in here that they want to be handing out Pinnacle rewards more. They said, we're going to have a few fun things between now and Beyond Light launching, since this season is going so long. They did double Nightfall Ordeal loot last week on the Lake of Shadows. They're doing triple Infamy this week, and next week Saladin's going to return with triple Valor and his Pinnacle rewards, of course. And they do note at the end there will be a few more weeks with increased rewards for Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit. Just hurry up and give me my double Bright Ingrams. I prefer that than anything.
Right.
I would genuinely play a lot if you announce that. There is one other. It's not a TWAB, but it is something that went up this week. I don't know if you got a chance to look at this yet, Corey, but it is a post that they put up about Europa called 100% chance of snow. And
is this about the weather stuff that they were talking?
It's about the weather stuff.
I saw a little bit of it.
I found this really fascinating, frankly.
Yeah.
So they talk about this, and they were brainstorming and talk about doing the idea of a blizzard to sell the fantasy of being in a harsh environment. Design took over everything on this, and the implementation and everything. They tested features like slowing player movement, altering grenade paths, and knocking players off their sparrows. But they say it was their design lead. The design lead for all of Europa says it was painfully unfun and made doing anything in the game almost impossible. We wanted to find a delicate balance between it seeming dangerous, but without it being actually disorienting, oppressive, or negatively impacting. So what they came to do is they have 3 different cycles that the weather is going to go through. The first has no storm at all. This is what Europa would look like without the new weather system. Clear skies, fresh snow, perfect skiing weather. Consider it the smoothest sailing you'll find. And they give examples of what each of these looks like from the same perspective. During a light storm, the wind picks up, snowfall increases, and it's largely aesthetic. It blots out the sun, obscures the starry skies above you, and dramatically changes the feel of the destination. It does kind of look like something out of a horror movie, frankly. And then when the heavy storm hits, the sky is heavily obscured, wind roars, and snow flurries become violent. The midground is difficult to see, and except for faintly visible silhouettes, it would be nearly impossible to navigate at all. You are encouraged to stick closer to cover and move with intent.
Mm-hmm.
I personally can't wait to see how Nightfalls handle this. I almost guarantee you there's going to be a section of the raid that will be obscured like this.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And worth remembering that just because the weather picks up does not mean the moon's combatants disappear. Even though it looks like the snow is shooting at you, it's not. So with zero visibility and a falling Kell to stop, it might not hurt to pack a thermal scope in tent.
So the weather's going to affect how you are going to move through the environment. It's very
basically like it's forcing you to change your game and not necessarily impacting it. I mean, you can still run through like, hi ho silver, but you may die right away.
That's no different than how I play now. I just die right away. Just wait for people to pick me up.
I also like at the end if you read it on Bungie.net, they talk about the sound a little bit and the wind sounds and everything. There's an audio clip you can listen to there. So yeah, that's all the news from Bungie this week. It's a fairly tame week compared to what we've been getting lately.
Yeah, but I think this is the time where there's going to be a lot of downtime between now and Beyond Light. So I think it's fine to have like different things to talk about and just have smaller shows anyway. Because I know when Beyond Light comes out, we're gonna just gonna blow this show out of the water. To be honest, it's just gonna be.
Yeah, this frankly, this may be our last. I say last. It's really the kind of like easiest flowing show, I think, like without a ton of news that we've had in weeks.
Yeah.
And they said, we're trying to set the expectation not every single TWAB is going to be a massive blowout, but you figure we've only got about 5 left before Beyond Light. There's a lot of ground to cover and an entire seasonal event that's going to happen as well. It's gonna get a little crazy. I, for one, can't wait. There is one last thing I completely forgot. I had this pulled up in another tab. They actually give us the map of Europa. I think it's the first time they've ever released the map of a new zone to us, as it'll appear in the director ahead of time, and you can kind of see what each zone is all about. The Eventide ruins up at the top of the map, north end, once home to thousands of settlers, and now all that remains of the Clovis Bray colony. We are going to go into that. We're going to talk about Clovis Bray a little bit today, and definitely much more next week. But in the promo image there, it definitely looks like a ruined city or ship home of some sort with fallen mechs walking around. Off to the right, the Assyrian Abyss. That's the pyramidian-looking structure that we've seen. Mech structures visible on this surface are only the tip of the iceberg. Cadmus Ridge, which is just below the ruins. A snowy landscape in the last known location of the buried Bray Exoscience Facility. Presumably that is where we'll find a Deepstone Crypt at for the raid. Continuing on, Charon's Crossing, the site of Europa's communication center, and the origin of a distress signal sent by Varix. So that kind of confirms. We talked about Varix about 2 months ago on the lore corner. There's a little bit in the pre-order ghost for Beyond Light where it says we don't know if he's being held hostage or not. This, to me, confirms that he is being held hostage, and this is likely the area where we spawn into patrol. And at the bottom is called Beyond. Get it? Beyond Light? An old friend awaits us in this clearing that overlooks the conflict between light and dark. And the only image that we see is just this massive pyramid. So it looks really cool. I'm definitely here for it. I love it. I want it. I need it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Varix is. Let's be honest. Varix is one of the coolest characters in Destiny.
He really is.
Just, I mean, besides like his iconic Prison of Elders call-outs and stuff, like it was like he's just a cool character. He's always been one of my favorite characters. He's the reason why I have a House of Judgment shirt in my closet. Like he's one of my favorite characters, and besides Mithrax for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, man, I need more of my boy Mithrax. But up until Mithrax, I mean, he was the only Fallen that was never hostile towards us.
Yeah.
He holds a lot of relevance in the story. I mean, they've been building him back up ever since Forsaken. Like, there's a whole lore book dedicated to him in Forsaken, for God's sake. If you don't have the Most Loyal book unlocked, highly recommend you either listen to our episode on Varix or you read it when it comes available. In Beyond Light, it's unlocked for everybody. Read it on Ishtar Collective something. It is one of my favorite lore books. And that and the Mithrax one really show how you can develop characters off screen in this universe. And then still tie it back to current events.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sitting here scrolling on this page while we're talking about it. Below the map, it shows, of course, the deluxe edition contents, and I did not realize that at launch, if you bought this, you get the exotic sparrow from the trailer. You get the stranger's sparrow.
Yeah,
I did not realize that was part of this, and that you got the no time to explain catalyst just given to you. I did not realize that, so
yeah,
that's really, really cool to me. I'm definitely excited to see that. And they've updated the box art also. It is worth noting the stranger is 100% front and center now, holding the Shard of Darkness.
Yeah.
We did get a new trailer this week. Not really going to go over that. If you want to watch it, go check it out. I'm at this point not really watching the trailers nearly as much. I've seen all I need to see. There's one little snippet I saw out of there that I definitely do want to mention, though. It looks like they have found a way to deliver more than 25 enemies on screen now. It looks like an entire army of Vex, and I'm really, really excited to have to fight like 50 Vex at once.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Like I know, like it was always like this weird thing where playing Destiny, you kind of saw the old, almost like Halo enemy kind of AI reactions and stuff. Like, you know, like when you would, like in Destiny 1 especially, like when you would land on Mars and you would go down into that area where the Vex were fighting the Cabal, and it, like, they wanted you to think that they were like really having a war there, but it was really only like, what, 7 or 8 Vex versus 7 or 8 Cabal, because there was a couple roaming around behind you also.
Well, they talked about this in one of the tech deep dives a while back, and it's just like engine restrictions and everything else, and it looks like that may have been one of the things they've been able to fix on the back end. The Vex offensive was one of the first things that made me feel like, okay, partially because of how the arenas were built, but it's like, okay, there's a ton of enemies out here. I can take this. Also, that just like the possibilities for raid encounters are nuts now. Like, yeah, I'm so excited to see what you can do here.
Knowing that there are only 25 enemies on screen at one time really makes me feel like an inadequate Guardian.
It does, doesn't it? I was like, man, I never thought about that until people were talking about it.
Yeah.
So,
like, I was always, I mean, I'm always the one running up to exploding thralls and punching them, so don't do that.
Just tighten things, man. Just tighten things.
Punch it. Just muscle through it. It'll be fine. Just punch it.
Well, Corey, I don't have a drop this week that I particularly care about. Did you have a drop that you liked?
I mean, I only played Destiny for like a little bit this week. I didn't get anything.
Yeah, same here. It's pandemonium over here. I'm probably playing like almost not at all this week either.
Yeah, so. I mean, I honestly switched over to the Mario 3D All Stars collection thing.
Okay.
On Switch just to play a little bit of Mario 64, and I played a little bit of Destiny this week just to, because I hadn't played with Traveler's Chosen yet.
A great gun. Fantastic gun.
Yeah, it's really fun. I was actually kind of shocked that I was enjoying a sidearm as much as I was.
I plan on making a build based around it. I want to make an ability-based build, probably with my Warlock.
Yeah,
for this fall.
I actually played a little bit as my Warlock as well this weekend, because, like, you can only punch yourself through things so much. Plus, like, I have nothing done with my Warlock. Like, my Warlock and my Hunter are characters that I like, oh, okay, I guess I'll buy the exotic from Zerd this week to infuse it into something for those characters and get them up to light level, so in case I need to use them, they'll be ready. But, like, I still have, like, I put on my Warlock the other day because I had only done the new light stuff with my Warlock, and I was like, oh, I still have to go talk to all these people in the tower. Oh.
Yeah, the Beyond Light quest, or not, God, New Light quest is really bad. It's made it almost unbearable, and for that reason, I just haven't unlocked Strikes or Gambit, I don't think, on either of my alternate characters. I have suffered through the Crucible stuff just so when Mayhem comes up, I can get double Bright Dust.
Yeah.
So
it's just I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to play as one of these other characters, I'm waiting till Beyond Light to see what their new, like, just so these quest lines go away, because they're just not. It's just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to all these people. I know who these people are. I wish they could see what I've done on my other character. That's the one thing. I wish the missions and stuff, like, some of the missions, like, they had, like, generic missions that would count across all 3 characters, and then have quests that would be like, okay, well, these, you can redo these quests, but, like, the generic, you know, okay, you don't, if you're this far with your primary character, you don't need to go talk to Shax and you know, Banshee and Hawthorne.
I can't believe that. I mean, you look at my account, when I started playing on my Warlock and my Titan, I probably had like over 1,000 hours in this franchise. You're really gonna act like I don't know what I'm doing? Okay. Yeah. I've beaten every single raid, guys. Like, I think I know what I'm doing. I have earned Recluse. I think I know what I'm doing in this game.
Or, like, you know, when you're moving through, like, when you start a new character or whatever, like, say you just want to, like, make your character look different or whatever, so you delete a character and make a new one. Or, you know, even just start a second or third character, and, like, the mission pops up and it gives you an option to skip it. Be like, oh, we see you've already done this mission with another character. Right. Would you like to skip it? And, you know, yes, I would.
Yes. Yes, I absolutely would like to skip it. This is ridiculous.
And if I accidentally hit no, please prompt me again and say, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, it's not great. It's pretty bad, actually.
Yeah.
Not a fan. Hopefully that'll be fixed, though.
Because I actually thought about going through and playing like the Red War campaign and stuff with a secondary character again, just to because if those are going away, I would just want to be like, you know what, I should probably play these again one more time. I know there's some issues with the Osiris DLC. I know some of those campaign missions are kind of weird and long, but I also don't remember them all that well, and I would like to go back through at some point and do them. So maybe I will.
Yeah, maybe. I'm thinking I may go back and do it as well at this point, frankly. The thing I want to bring up, though, I don't have any interesting drops, but I did earn an exotic cipher this week, which we get in the season pass. But the quest that we talked about last week, the Memories of Hellsome quest, to honor Matt Hellsome, one of the designers from Victorious Visions that worked on the Warmind campaign and on the Destiny franchise as a whole. Bungie, of course, put out a little mini quest about this. You'll receive a prompt the next time you log in that'll be like, hey, this is here. There will be no node for you to go talk to anybody when you go to Mars, though. You kind of have to find it on your own. You just walk like you're going towards the mine lab, and before you even get into the mine lab, there'll be a little room off to the side when you crawl through the tunnel that is now open. Go in there, pull out your ghost and scan something, and then, again, no prompt. You'll be like, oh, we found a journal from the Golden. It's back to Ana, and she'll give you a big dialogue. I'm going to go ahead and read this. I can't believe you found this, Ana says. It's Hellsome's journal. Hellsome was a xenoarchaeologicalist during the Golden Age. He believed there were instances of contact between extrasolar species and humanity long before the Traveler. By all accounts, Hellsome was a cigar-smoking, whiskey-drinking explorer who hated flying. He'd refused to use jump ships for planetary exploration, would just hop in a rover and drive halfway across Mars to do his research. In spite of all that, every log entry I've ever heard made it sound like he was the happiest guy in the room. His laugh was just ... Ana seems lost for a moment. I don't know if Hellsome ever found what he was looking for. According to this, he stayed here through the collapse because he believed in something. I guess I'll have to make that choice too. And then she gives the reward for the exotic cipher at that point. So it's a really cool way to honor somebody who was a part of the Destiny universe by making him actually part of the universe now, canonically. I think that's really special. The exotic cipher allows you to trade in for an exotic with Zera or the Cryptarch, but you can only hold one at a time. So I already have one. I'm going to have to go spend one, and then I can pick this up, unless they somehow patch this before Beyond Light. But yeah, I thought that was really cool, and just a really special little thing. Like it takes you all 5 minutes to do, and it is it's really nice. It's really moving to see that.
Yeah, I like that they did this. I think it's really, it probably means a lot to that his family and like just this. It just means that like Bungie has taken. Despite sometimes people say that maybe they're not the greatest company to work for sometimes, or like they're really bogged down and trying to get stuff fixed and everything, but like it kind of shows that they know who their employees are, and it's more like a don't really care to say this word a lot, but like a family, and like this is a way to honor one of their family members who's gone now, and now they're immortalized in this game until obviously the game goes offline at some point, I'm sure, but it's really cool. I should probably go do that quest as well. Again,
it takes like all 5 minutes. I actually had to Google because I didn't have a message prompt, but it's pretty much there to say like, hey, if you take the time to explore this and you actually read the prompt and don't accidentally click through it like I did, you can go do it real quick and honor someone who worked on the game.
Yeah.
So very cool little quest. I like it. I saw some people wondering why on earth would you put this on a planet that's going away, and the simple answer to that is Victorious Visions basically designed all of Mars.
Yeah.
They essentially did most of the Warmind campaign and content, and he was the project lead on that, to my knowledge. So that's why
was the better of the two original
yes.
DLC campaigns by far.
Yes. So that's definitely why it's happening this way.
Yeah,
and I really like it. So
yeah, yeah, I think it's cool.
So yeah, I guess at that point, should we move into the lore corner, Corey? Just keep talking about Ana Bray.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ana Bray.
Big fan of Ana Bray. Big fan.
Ana Bray is Bay, right? That's what they say.
Ana Bray is Bay. Yeah. Before we jump into this, we are going to talk some lore corner real fast. Just what we've got coming up. We have been pushed back a tiny bit in our, I guess, not pursuit, but in our coverage of what's going to happen here. This week we're going to talk Ana. I'll look at the time here in a minute. We're going to try and get through Elsie as well. We need to talk about the Clovis Bray Corp at some point. Cover Vance, cover the Trials, Rasputin, Drifter, and Saint 14, all before Beyond Light. We may have a little bit of wiggle room towards the end, but that right now is the current objective, is to get through all these people. And of course, we already covered Eris earlier in the season. So, with that said, Ana Bray. Ana is, I think, out of any of the planetary vendors in either game, really, she is. Well, I guess there weren't planetary vendors in Destiny 1, so I take that back. But out of the NPCs, I think she's one of the more beloved in the community. She's really mysterious. Ana is someone she's not the true daughter of Clovis Bray. She was adopted by them, and she's one of the very few people who knows about her life before she was a guardian, and as a result, we know about her life. When she was a child, she actually worked on or not as a child, but when she was younger in her previous life, she worked on Rasputin as a psycholinguist that taught him independent thought. She basically helped develop his AI, which is really, really cool. Rasputin began to develop nuances in his language, you could say. Taught him literature, taught about music, philosophy, and stuff. But she also didn't teach him the concept of trust, which is really depressing. Of course, at some point, she does die. She comes back. She's revived by her ghost. She learned of her past because of the ID card that was on her and other materials with her. She was mentored by the legendary hunter Andal Brask, one of the best friends of Kate Six, and she was in a fire team, but she lost her entire team. So a lot like Eris, her entire fire team also died. She was part of the Battle of Six Fronts. She was famously part of the fire team that drove people back. She was part of Shax's team there, who chose to just charge. Instead of heeding the advice to fall back from Zavala, her and Shax and a few others charged forward. She became a legend, and she decides to leave shortly after that. She doesn't feel like she's at home, honestly. She heads out and tries to seek knowledge about the Clovis Bray Corp and whatnot. Zavala did not like this. Learning about your past life is taboo amongst them. Not Six Fronts. So she participates in Six Fronts. Twilight Gap is what I'm thinking of. She participates in Twilight Gap, and everybody assumes that she dies. She uses that to kind of cover her tracks and take off. She eventually heads out to Mars, of course. She heads out, and we encounter her. We encounter her there when she's looking for Rasputin and for the Warmind.
Is this where the Warmind DLC starts? Like that, where she's kind of like, you see her in the snow or whatever, and it just.
Yeah, we're there. There's a little bit of stuff that actually happens during the Red War. her ghost detects Zavala's call to rally on Titan. Ana chooses to ignore it. She says no, and then she gets caught in the snowstorm, of course. And that's when we get the intro to the entire DLC. So Ana's past is still pretty. It's pretty shrouded in mystery. We've got some sort of indication that we may get that continued. Ana, of course, for those who have completed the Traveler's Chosen quest line, she is the one of the 4 planetary vendors that actually to come to the tower. And she hesitates. She doesn't want to come back to the tower because she doesn't want to be the Hunter Vanguard. All indications are that she will eventually take on that role, although personally I think that the lore for the Exodus questline hints that still popular fan theory is in effect that it'll end up being Aldrin eventually. Mm-hmm. I would not be shocked to see it be Ana first, though. While we're talking about the Exodus questline, though, she does decide to leave finally, and she has found that Rasputin actually survived the Darkness's attack that we see at the very beginning in the opening cutscene of this season. Mm-hmm. She is able to download Rasputin's data fragments into a primitive exo body. So she is also bringing Rasputin with her to the tower. We are essentially getting Fellwinter 2.0. This was data mined last season. A lot of people found a Fellwinter character model in the game. It was later found to be the hologram that you encounter in the Fellwinter's Lie quest. But also, hey, that was kind of clever because now, hey, he's coming for real. It's in one of the very first exo bodies. I suspect her to have something to do with the Deepstone Crypt pursuit and storyline in Beyond Light. And I think that's when we're going to get the... that was my phone going off, sorry. I did not mute my phone. That is the confirmation, I think, that her and Elsie are going to finally cross paths. So speaking of Elsie, we're gonna shift away from Ana real quickly here, and we're gonna go to Elsie Bray. So one of the most prevailing fan theories in the Destiny community is that the Exo Stranger is actually Ana's long-lost sister, Elsie. It's been kind of hinted at before in various little nuggets. I didn't really subscribe to this theory until, of course, Fife did a video on it. But some of Elsie's history, Elsie and her sister Ana built a Sparrow when they were kids, when they were 13. It would later become a full-on production model, which I do personally believe is going to maybe be her the Sparrow that you get in Beyond Light that we were just talking about, actually.
The Stranger Sparrow?
Yeah, I think it may end up being the Stranger Sparrow. Who knows? I'm probably completely wrong on it. And then she designed a couple of ships for Clovis Bray, including the Shadow Trespass ship, which it's an exotic one. It looks kind of like poop. But it was available during the Warmind expansion from Eververse. They also had a third sister. They all worked at the Futurescape on Mars. Her sister worked Elsie worked on research and development, as well as on the snow armor. Of course, she kind of kept an eye over Ana working on the Ikelos. No, not the Ikelos scout rifle. The what do you call it? I'm blanking out right now, but it's the exotic scout that you can get from Ana. Polaris Lance. She looks at it. Of course, she's pleased with what she's seeing. Elsie was kind of behind the test nodes that we go and find. And she helped develop the Worldline Zero exotic sword, and it allowed her to see visions of the future. She actually saw the collapse and the darkness during this, and she disappears a couple of days after she sees it. She wipes out her research before she flees. She hides the sword within a cache, And then she leaves a message to Ana apologizing. At that point, she completely disappears, and we lose all records of Elsie Bray. The Exo Stranger, however, we're not gonna relitigate this, but of course we know that she shows up a handful of times in the original Vanilla Destiny 1 campaign, and that's the only time that we ever saw her. She is, of course, front and center in Beyond Light. She is on the cover art for it. We don't exactly know the Stranger's purpose yet, only that she has been in contact with us and the Drifter before, as indicated in the trailer when she says, "This is what I brought you here to show you." So kind of an overview of this. She works for an unknown faction, of course. We don't know who she's talking about, but she is able to travel through time. She says, I keep coming back to this point, basically, when she meets the Guardian. Like, I keep coming back to this. And when she first encounters us, she's talking through her mic, and she says, kill the engine, kill the engines, kill the thrusters, I'm on my way. She, her gun, No Time to Explain, which eventually becomes an exotic, it's going to be an exotic in Beyond Light, and I believe it was turned into one in Destiny 1 as well. Is made. See, that shows you the amount of times that I used that gun, which was never.
I actually used it quite a bit, to be honest with you. I mean,
really?
I mean, it was at a time where, like, my friends were starting to fall off Destiny, but I was still playing it pretty regularly, and I was, playing around with, obviously, Galahorn and some of the other exotics that they brought back from Year 1, and just going through the Siva stuff, and I actually really liked No Time to Explain. It's probably one of my favorite pulse rifles, to be honest with you. Just the way it feels. I don't really remember what the perks were or anything. I liked the way it felt, and I used it a lot. So...
of course, she keeps going back through time, jumping back through. She sees she's trying to stop the Vex and the Black Heart, is what she's doing on the moon originally. When she becomes interested in the Guardian, when she becomes interested in the Young Wolf, she eventually finds the Guardian, whose ghost mentions Venus, and she believes us to be the one. She follows the ghost to the Cosmodrome. Of course, we see her in the opening mission watching us fly off out of the Cosmodrome. And she thinks that we're the one. She thinks we're the one. She gives us her gun, of course, at the end of the vanilla campaign, and then she just disappears without a trace. We don't see her ever again. But 6 years later, because canonically each expansion is and seasons are over the course of a year, she's on Europa. Of course, she's aligned with the Drifter and Eris. It is kind of bonkers, honestly. Don't really know what she is doing here necessarily. I do really, 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 really hope that we eventually get to find out that she is for sure Elsie. This is probably the biggest fan theory that has circulated, and it's circulated since Warmind. That's really when this started picking up steam. And it's just kind of like latched on. Like, at this point, even if it ended up not being true, I think that, it basically is Rasputin. She encounters Rasputin at one point, and he recognizes her, but she doesn't understand. I am very curious to see. Like, let this play out. Ana, of course, one of the beloved NPCs. The Stranger was one of those things that everybody just kind of laughed and made fun of. Like, I have no time to explain why I don't have time to explain became, something of a meme across the internet with Destiny 1.
That's putting it lightly.
It's putting it lightly. But with her and we're all assuming now that Uldren is back in the Cosmodrome. As his symbol is the symbol for the Cosmodrome, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It looks like they're really trying to rectify the mistakes made with Destiny 1 and with the initial canceling of Joseph Staten's story.
Yeah.
We know that Uldren was supposed to be the Crow originally and was supposed to be much more in line with Cade 6 in terms of his humor.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's just kind of a short, sweet lore corner right now. I like this. And Luke Smith has confirmed that her companion that we see in the trailers is not a ghost. But we will find out what it is.
Do you think there's
very curious?
Do you think there's like a darkness equivalent to a ghost?
Yes. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Is I think that eventually that's going to be revealed. I think that is the equivalent. I think the ghost can upload himself into it. Frankly,
what if Europa ends up being not a moon, but the darkness version of the Traveler? Whoa. No, I don't think that's happening, but that would be cool.
No, Europa is an actual planet, so yeah, I don't know, but I do think that there is plenty of stuff here that they aren't telling us yet, obviously. I really hope that a lot of this expansion has been left secret, and with the reintroduction of the Stranger, it makes sense that they would be extremely tight-lipped about it.
Yeah.
I do think we're rapidly getting to the close of Eris's story, however.
Yeah.
I feel like Eris's story is going to come to a close probably within this next year.
Like her whole story? Like, you don't...
I think her whole story. Eris has been front and center for The Dark Below, The Taken King, Shadowkeep, and now will play a major part in Beyond Light, as well as the Season of Arrivals. No other NPC has ever played that much in the game. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's kind of clear that if they do keep her, she's going to be part of a separate Vanguard that will include herself, the Stranger, and the Drifter. Mm-hmm. So I do kind of wonder if that's going to happen. I think it's pretty clear that the Stranger is going to end up being the vendor on Europa. That's my personal belief, at least. It would keep her in the story. Mm-hmm. And I think she's going to be pretty important to the evolving storyline that we see in the seasons this year. I think that would be kind of a no-brainer. The only other person I think that could kind of fill that role would be if Mara comes back.
Yeah.
Just surprisingly, which we can't rule it out. The last time we had a big expansion like this, we are getting two zones, I guess. We are getting Europa and the Cosmodrome. If Uldren comes back, I expect Mara to show up at some point.
Oh yeah.
So
you don't think Varix could be a vendor?
See, I believed for a long time that Varix could be in it. It's very possible. In fact, I'd say it's probably more likely that he's the vendor.
Especially if the Stranger is like going to be a major part of this story. You don't want her just standing on the planet and then just randomly pop up in cutscenes, I feel like.
Yeah, I would prefer to avoid another Eris situation.
Yeah.
Which is what we had in Shadowkeep, where she just like popped up, or hey, you have to return to her. Like maybe we won't have to return to the Stranger every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I hope that's a signal of some better storytelling in that regard. They've always been great on the cutscenes and the visuals, but also, we need that to reflect the reality a little bit more.
Yeah. Also, I could almost see there's probably going to be some sort of social space on Europa, right? And if we're learning how to wield the darkness, don't you think like it would make sense for the Drifter, the Stranger, and Eris to be vendors there instead of kind of like if they're forming their own version of like the Darkness Vanguard, would it make sense to have them all together, kind of?
So I've been doing a fair amount of thinking about this. I do not think that Eris will be there, because this is part of the problem. Eris is the planetary vendor on the moon.
On the moon, right.
Mm-hmm. Unless you drop somebody else on the moon, which, I mean, it's entirely possible. You could just throw somebody else there. I don't know.
Yeah, but if Shadowkeep's staying as an expansion to play through, probably
she kind of has to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do suspect that the Drifter is going to move out there. And just like leave his creepy voicemail machine or something at the tower.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think if you move Drifter out there, and you could move Eris out there, of course, and just let us pick up bounties from orbit. And I mean, hey, you could. I mean, it's space magic. Let her be in 2 places at once.
Yeah.
Who cares? Because canonically, Shadowkeep takes place a year before Beyond Light. There's always some wacky things you could do there, I'm sure.
I mean, there's no rules to say that Eris couldn't be both places either, right? I mean,
right. I do think that you're going to see something weird like that. I think the Drifter is going to be there, though. We've gotten indications that kind of looks like in some of the promo images that is camping out there.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly looks like it. Like he's flown the haul out there. So
yeah,
just really kind of curious to see what happens. I do think, like I said in the show, I think that they're keeping a lot of secrets, and one of the cool things to keep a secret, I think, would be a social space, even if it's just a big area where we're all spawning into, a la the moon.
Yeah, I mean they kept the tower a secret, right?
They did. We had no indication that the tower was coming back. We were on the farm forever.
Yeah.
So it is entirely possible that there is a social space. It is entirely possible that there's a third space after this. That since Cosmodrome is technically reintroduced content, there is always the possibility that there is a dreaming city waiting for us.
Yeah.
Maybe this is when we go to the distributary. Who knows?
Yeah.
So especially if Mara's going to come back, I think that something like that is going to have to happen eventually.
Yeah.
But I also think. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I could see the if Aldrin is the vendor and he plays some sort of role in the story, I could see Mara coming back and the reef kind of reappearing, or like a version of the reef.
I would love that, and like maybe next year or something, Varix goes back to the reef.
Mm-hmm.
Like Varix becomes the vendor there or something. I think that'd be really cool. Mara takes her place up in the Dreaming City once we free it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possibilities you can do here that I'd really like to see. So lots of exciting things coming, lots of speculation happening. But that's going to do it for Lore Corner and the speculation zone.
Yeah. Man, I'm just really excited to play Beyond Light. Honestly, probably for most of the show, I've been staring at this stranger statue on Amazon, debating whether or not I should get this or that or the memory card and another controller.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing where I know that as soon as I buy it, it's going to go down $10 on Amazon before it gets hiked up in price because they're going to stop selling it. But I kind of want to pull the trigger on it because it looks cool. It's
great. I really like it. Mine came on Tuesday, and I am just a massive fan of it.
I wish they had more things like this. Like more collectible characters from Destiny, right? Like I have the Shax, and the Saladin figures, but I want more of like something like this. Like I would want one of like all the Vanguard characters. I would want one of Saint 14. I would want one of Saladin and Shax. Like I would like them to do this, but I don't know how feasible that is for people who like how many people are actually that into the characters of this game to have them. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I feel like things like this might end up being exclusive to the Bungie store.
Yeah,
eventually.
They had a Cade one, right? They had a Cade one.
The Cade one was really crappy, though. I have the Cade one. It's Cade's Last Stand, and it's very flimsy. It's not like this one. This one actually is like built really good and really detailed, especially for the price. So I got it on sale. I got it for $50. I ordered it right away when it went up on Amazon. I was initially really upset because it looked like you were only going to be able to get it with a Steam code. Like, well, that kind of sucks. Like, if they ever did an Xbox version, so I was like, well, if they do an Xbox version, I'm ordering this instead of getting the actual Bungie Collector's Edition. I don't need another duffel bag or backpack or water bottle or anything at this point, and I don't want to spend that for a Shard of Darkness.
Yeah.
This though, $60, whatever I paid for it, cool. And then I've got Beyond Light on top of that. I'm basically paying like $130 for a collector's edition.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it. As long as I'm not buying a statue every year. Like if they start making really cool ones, I'm going to have a problem.
Yeah.
For right now, I really like this.
Yeah, I mean those what are they? The 3A figures of the Titan Hunter Warlock figures that are like
the $200 ones.
Yeah, like I would much rather have like the characters from the story as those instead of like, you know what I mean? Because like I think the whole appeal of though like a Hunter Warlock Titan character is that you get to make your own, right, and decide what your character looks like. And these pre-designed ones are like, yeah, it'd be cool to have, but that's not my Titan, you know? Whereas like Zavala is already established, Ikora is already established, Cade, Saint 14, even like an Osiris one would be really cool looking, you know? Like I would rather have a nice statue of those.
Yeah. I'd like to see some of the denizens of the tower, really, some of our close allies. I mean, because like, if you took a random poll, people would want, of course, Zavala, Shax, Saladin, Ikora. They'd want a proper Cade one. I imagine there would be some who would be like, hey, can we reach back to Destiny 1 and do the Stranger, do Eris?
Yeah.
I would absolutely buy a Drifter with that Rebreather mask on from Beyond Light.
Yeah.
I would absolutely get a Drifter.
I think any of the main characters I would probably buy. Like, there's probably
I would consider Mara or Uldren. Maybe even Pat. This dude, if they did the spider sitting on his throne, like I'd have to get the spider.
Dude, that would be like a $300 statue, but just of Spider, just like sitting there, like on his throne, just leaning back like this. You know,
I'd like him to be back there, but like have like a dead ghost in his fingers or something.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. Like,
I mean, hell, you could even do some of like the raid bosses, maybe. Like, I would never buy a Galaran, but like Callus sitting in his chair.
I think an Oryx one would be cool.
Dude, an Oryx, so I have a Crota Pop sitting on my shelf. Or it was sitting on my shelf. I bought some of the Funkos when they came out because I felt like that was the closest I was ever going to get to it. Yeah. I have the glow-in-the-dark Crota. I have Atheon, Zur.
Even Zur would be cool.
Dude, I would love a Zur, just like with all his tentacles on his face. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Like my biggest thing, the thing that I'm the proudest of collecting in my entire life, I have every single Disney Infinity character ever made except for the $300 unreleased Peter Pan. And like, if they just made a nice line of Destiny figures like this Stranger statue, like I would buy them all. I would too. It would become a problem really quickly. Oh yeah, I would have to sell a bunch more stuff to get them, but I would definitely, you know, if they release like a new one every 3 months, instead, like, if it was between one of these statues and like a game I was on the fence of getting, right, like it would definitely be one of these statues I would go for, you know. Man, I could think of like 15 characters I would want right now. Like, you could do like a whole Iron Lord set.
Yeah, I think when you like that, it's you have to do things that you know will for sure turn a profit. And I mean, like, off the top of my head, there's 6 characters that would, and that's of course the 3 Titans, Ikora, Drifter, and I would say probably Cade. Well, not probably, Cade absolutely would sell. And then after that, I think you could do like another wave, like do an Uldren, do a Mara. Mara would absolutely sell. Spider. Spider is like a big deluxe one. Maybe Mithrax or Varix once we've done a little bit more with them.
If I could just have a Varix statue sitting on my desk.
Give me a Sepix Prime Nightlight.
That'd be cool. That'd be so cool. Or like a Traveler ball. You know that Xbox light that's just like the orb with the X in it? Like, give me a Traveler one too.
Dude, like, I would buy so much needless crap if they started doing this. Yeah. I'd be a little disgusted. Like, I really like the little weapon replicas that they were doing on Bungie Rewards there for a while for some of the exotic quests. Yeah. But they were so flimsy and breaking. I was like, I don't want to spend $100 on this for it to break. But I would have absolutely bought one of Outbreak Perfected.
Yeah, like I have the McFarlane Titan character, and like I loved it because it had the Helm of Saint 14, it had the Vault of Glass armor, it was the shader that I used. I was like, man, this is awesome. It came with Hung Jury and Gallarhorn, And I was like, oh man, this is the greatest thing of all time. And I open it, and it's a piece of junk, you know? And I'm like, oh man, I'm just so disappointed in this.
Yeah, I really would like to see some, like, I like the 3-0 figure I'm looking at right now with the Mercury of X Chrome on it. And I love it so much because I really like the guns that are with it. But Jesus, man, I can't justify spending $200 on this. That's really difficult for me. I do like that it includes the arc staff. It has the Last City shell, Uriel's Gift since the past, Curtain Call. Man, it's cool, but there's nothing in this world that would get me to spend $200 on that. Now, if it was a custom printing of my Guardian, I would spend $200 on that.
Oh yeah. There was a Titan.
Absolutely need it with the Dead Orbit cloak.
There was a Titan that came out for Destiny 1 from the 3A figure, with the Hanged Man shader on it, and it came with Thunderlord, I think.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And that was the closest I came to getting one of these 3A figures. But I was like,
they are so cool. They are super detailed. I can't justify dropping that kind of cash.
Yeah, and it was a Sunbreaker Titan too, so he comes with a hammer.
Yeah,
and I think he comes with Last Word also. Let's see, it's Thunderlord, and I think it's Last Word and hammers. So, which was the closest I've ever come, but it's really expensive now because it was a Destiny 1 Titan. So. Yeah, it's like 300. It's like
it's
300
beyond
bucks.
Our reach now.
Yeah, it's beyond light, as they say. Beyond my dollars.
Need to end this.
Yeah. That's going to do it here for Tower Casual. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. Remember, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BossRushGames. Check out all of our content and our family of shows on our website at bossrushgames.com, or you can watch us live on Thursday nights for Tower Casuals. Josh, where can we find you?
You can find me, Josh_Finn, on Twitter. That's Finn with 2 N's as always. And follow the recovery of my existential crisis from getting my Xbox finally. And more Destiny and Bethesda gossip leading up to November.
Yeah. Are you coming on Arsenal X this weekend?
No, the plan is, in fact, as soon as we get off after this, is to probably pack my microphone away. So TBD. Okay. TBD. It depends on if we can get everything that we absolutely need to get done Sunday finished. Since Chelsea works Monday night, she'll be asleep all day Monday. She works Monday night, and then we move on Wednesday. So I'm trying not to leave too much for Tuesday at this point. But if I can get through all that, then I'll be definitely maybe. But I do still have some hot Bethesda takes to get out there now. I know.
I want to talk about it so bad now that I've actually had time to semi-process it. And the fact that we kind of all got our X's now, and I'm just kind of like, it's time to wait. So, but yeah. You can find me at IamCorianHD on Twitter and Instagram. You can also catch me on a variety of shows here on Boss Rush Games. Some things kind of happening in the background here. Very excited. Hope everybody had a good week, has a good weekend. Josh, thank you for joining me on this edition of Tower Casuals. And thank everybody so much for watching. And until next time, we love you.